What's up, YouTube? This is Boston X79, guys, and I'm coming to you with a brand new deck profile for August 2019. And today, right out of Rising Rampage, I'm doing my updated version of Phantasm Spiral Dragon deck that includes the Tenyi monsters from Rising Rampage. Oh my god, the Tenyi archetype has added such a level of defense to this deck that it didn't previously have. So yeah, this deck used to be able to sneak wins at locals, possibly even regionals, but now this deck has actually been able to get in a whole nother level of defense. And with the speed it already has, and the ability to lock your opponent's moves down and control them, I can tell you right now, this deck is actually getting a whole lot stronger, and you need to be watching out for it. Alright? Besides that, this deck is insanely budget. The main deck is basically filled with rares and commons, which basically makes the deck a whole lot more affordable to go into and play. Alright? And I can tell you right now, it's fun. It's one of the more fun niche decks that I like to run around with. And I can tell you right now, the Tenyis have added such new life in this deck. I'm loving this build right now. Alright? So first, we're going to talk about the two copies of Phantasm Spiral Dragon. Alright, this guy got a massive power boost when it found Pacifist. 2900 attack, 2900 defense, level 8 Water Attribute War Monster. Very awesome. The heart and soul of the whole deck, and it can really deal some massive amounts of damage. 2's all you need. You don't need to go into 3 because it bricks hard. Going further, we have 3 copies of Megalo Smasher X, a level 4 Water Attribute Dinosaur Monster, which can open up a whole lot of extra plays if you decide to extend into it. Alright. Now for the Tenyis, 2 copies of Tenyi Spirit Shithana. This is the level 4 Water Attribute Tenyi. It's actually one of the hardest ones to pull. I opened 4 boxes of Rising Rampage and only pulled 2 of them. Alright? Now, all Tenyi monsters, if you control a non-effect monster, whether it be a vanilla monster, a token from this deck, or even one of the non-effect Link or Fusion monsters that are in the extra deck, you can special summon these guys to the field. But I'm going to turn around and tell you this right now. The Tenyi monsters should never be touching your field during a game. Alright? You want them for the in-hand or in-graveyard effects that they have. Alright? So, while this card is in hand or in your graveyard, if a non-effect monster is destroyed by battle or card effects, you can banish this card from hand or graveyard, and then target one of your opponent's cards, destroy it. It's kind of a revenge card, and it actually is pretty cool. Helps you control the situation a little bit better. Alright? The other Tenyi monster I'm running is Bishida, the level 7 Dark Attribute monster. This is actually a pretty cool card. While this card's in hand in the graveyard, you control a non-effect monster on the field, you can banish a card from either of those locations and target one of your opponent's cards and bounce it back to your opponent's hand. So it has that compulsory evacuation device effect on it, which is actually pretty damn cool. Alright. Going into your spells, 2 copies of Fossil Deck to find your Megalo Smashers a little bit faster. I'm running 3 copies of Heatwave. The whole idea is to try to keep this deck a little bit budget. If you have the money, you can swap this card out for Pot of Extravagance. You're probably wondering why not run both in the deck. The primary reason is both of these cards need to be activated during the start of your main phase, so you only can choose one. Me, I prefer holding my opponent down and controlling the situation. This card forces your opponent not to be able to normal summon or special summon effect monsters, which means they have to set them, and that kind of helps with Phantasmal Spiral Crash, the equip spell, to be a little bit more active. Alright, also, if you can't find the rares, Heatwave was just recently reprinted as a common in the recent Speed Duel Structure decks, or Starter decks, excuse me. So you could have another way to pick these cards up. Alright. The heart and soul of this deck, you have the 3 copies of Pacifist. Oh my god, this deck kind of lives and dies by its field spell, so you want to see it, so you have to run 1 copy of Terraforming alongside of it. It counts as Yumi while in the field, or in a graveyard, which is actually important. Gives you a bunch of different effects. Really, whenever you normal summon a normal monster, guess what? You're searching your deck for a Phantasm card to add to your hand. Either the equips or the traps, which is actually pretty cool. Your opponent activates a card or effect. Yeah, you can actually turn them out and special summon a token if you don't control one, which is actually pretty cool. If you have a token, your opponent pops it, guess what? You're getting it back, which is actually pretty awesome. So you constantly have those cards giving you what you need. The token is actually level 8, 2000 defense, 2000 attack, which is actually pretty cool. And it's a normal monster, so you can utilize your Tenyis with it as well. Alright. Now I talked about this. We got 1 copy of Spiral Crash, and now I have 2 copies of Spiral Grip. Alright. Crash and Grip are the equipped spells that help you special summon the Phantasm Spiral Dragon from your deck, hand, or graveyard, depending on what happens. Now, Crash will allow you to normal monster to inflict piercing damage. Whenever you do battle damage, you can actually special summon your Big Daddy Boss monster to the field, re-equip Crash to the boss monster, and then you can change one of your opponent's monsters that can be changed to defense mode into defense mode, so you can inflict more piercing damage. Grip, on the other hand, is the equip that actually power boosts your monsters by 500, which is actually pretty cool. And then when it destroys a monster by battle, and since it's in the graveyard, special summon out the Big Daddy Dragon, re-equip it to this card, and then hit your opponent with effect damage for 1000. Alright, the primary reason why I'm running 2 Grips and 1 Crash is because I like the fact that this power boosts your monster and hits your opponent with burn damage. But you can easily swap the ratios and do 2 Crash with Spiral Grip, since Heat Wave is pretty key to this deck's overall control strategy. Alright. To help with consistency with the Tenyis, 3 copies of Vessel for the Dragon Cycle. What does this card do? Basically, if you have a Worm monster in your hand, you can discard it to your graveyard, which is cost, and then you can search your deck for another Worm monster to add to your hand. So if you have Big Daddy Spiral Dragon in your hand, you can pitch it to the graveyard and get yourself a Tenyi. Pretty awesome. Allows you to thin your deck and control what's in your graveyard. Alright. One of the best cards that this deck gave is the Fist of the Unrivaled Tenyi. A counter trap, activates whenever your opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect, and basically negates and destroys it, which is just freaking awesome. The card also has an amazing Waking the Dragon style effect, where if it's destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you get to special summon a non-effect monster from your extra deck to the field, which is pretty awesome. Gotta say, I do have a few targets in there for that card effect, but ultimately this level of negation is just needed. Alright? No Phantasmal Spiral deck is complete without the Phantasmal Spiral traps, and you're running 3 of each. 3 of Phantasmal Spiral Barrel and 3 of Phantasmal Spiral Power. Okay? Battle targets one of your opponent's cards and destroys it, while Power is basically like the archetype's Infinite Impermanence. Both of these cards also have in-graveyard effects where you can just banish them and re-equip equip spells from your graveyard to monsters on the field, which is actually pretty damn awesome. Helps defend monsters to give them a power boost when needed, or just basically get an equip spell onto a monster to make it bigger so you can swing for game. Alright, now the thing about it is that these cards will only activate if you control a normal monster, and non-effect monsters like the 2 Tenyi monsters as well as the 2 fusion monsters I'm running in the extra deck will prevent these cards from going off. So you want to be able to use Pacifist to search these cards out and utilize them to prevent your opponent from trying to lock them out in case they pop your counter trap. Alright. 3 copies of Sea Stealth Attack, and this card is pretty critical to this deck because what it does is that when you activate it, if you have Yumi in your hand or the graveyard, and Pacifist always counts as Yumi, you can activate it from either of those locations on your opponent's turn, which is actually just pretty cool. And while Yumi's on the field, it has 2 other effects. You can banish a water attribute monster to basically protect all face-up spell and traps you control, which is your Pacifist as well as this card. And then for your level 8 or higher, or actually level 5 or higher water attribute monsters, whenever they attack, this card basically turns them into like an Ally of Justice Catastor, where they automatically destroy the monster they're battling. and send it to the graveyard, which is just pretty awesome. Alright, and the last trap card in the main deck are 3 copies of Waterfall of the Dragon Souls. We're running 7 Worm type monsters in this deck, so you've opened up with a lot of Worm monsters, and this card you can actually set it, activate it, you can search out another Worm monster if you want to, or you can just pitch the Worm monsters you don't need to your graveyard, and then draw cards equal to the number of ones you pitched plus 1. So if you pitch 2 Worm monsters to the graveyard, you can draw 3 cards, and drawing deeper into the deck is what this card really allows you to do. And since Tenyis can activate both from both hand or graveyard, you're in a pretty good shape. Alright, for the extra deck, 1 Monk and 1 Berserker. Monk's pretty easy to get into if you want to go into it. Berserker's primarily in there as a target for the counter trap. 3 down in the tap points, which is actually pretty cool. Alright. Moving forward, I'm also running 2 copies of Mistar board because the majority of your main deck monsters are water attributes, so if this card gets destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you're getting one of those cards from your graveyard back to your hand. And it also power boosts your water type monsters by 500 attack, so pretty awesome. Okay, Abyss Dweller, another power boost for water type monsters if you want to go that route, but knocking out opponent's graveyard effects pretty key to shutting down a lot of different decks. I'm running the Bahamut package, so you can get you into extra negates. Possibly still more cards from your opponent. Dagasta Emerald to recycle cards from your graveyard back into your deck and draw. I'm running the two Evolzo Dark Dolkas and 1 Lagia. Megalo Smasher is actually pretty damn awesome, and getting 2 on the field can be easy over the course of the duel. Going into Laga and Dolka and Lagia, excuse me, extra monster negate, effect negates, or Lagia is basically a walking Solemn Judgment, so more negates. And last but not least, for the rank 4s, I run the Utopia package, primarily because you just can get over big monsters with them. Alright, and the last but not least cards are two of the other targets for the Wicked Dragon effect of the Tenyi counter trap, and that's 2 copies of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. This being will summon this guy out onto the field, 4,500 attack, 3,900 defense, big, beefy beat stick. Alright, and if it gets to that point where you have Big Daddy Dragon on the field with this guy, yeah, there should be no way you're not winning that game. Alright. Guys, that is it for my Phantasm Spiral Tenyi deck profile for August 2019. As always, if you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this on my channel, make sure to subscribe. Enable notifications, especially the YouTube notifications, so you don't miss a single upload. Guys, check out the description box below. Find the invite link to my Discord server. Join the conversation. We would love to have you. Follow me on Twitter at BystanderX79. And as always, guys, until next time, peace.